Hey, this is True Love Story, and I'm going to do a video on how I draw. Okay, so this is obviously my first video, so it's going to be completely a mess, but we're still going to try this. First of all, I use just ordinary automatic pencil, because for some reason I can't stand normal pencils, because you always have to sharpen them. So I'm going to be drawing a quick sketch of Coco, which is one of my original characters, and let's just start. First I start off with the main sketch, which I always call the inner workings, which I don't know what normal people call it, just like the rough sketch on body structure and whatnot. That's what I ended up calling it. And normally I think I put maybe not that much thought into what I'm drawing until I'm actually sketching it down. Like right now, I have no idea how this body is gonna end up turning out or what her face is gonna. Sorry, I just stopped for a minute. So, yeah, I don't know what her expression or what the actual picture is gonna look like, but I don't know why I started off like that, but that's how it usually ends up. So I don't even know if you can actually see what I'm drawing, or if it's just all blurred. So yeah, I've practiced a lot using this technique of different shapes and whatnot. A lot of people use different stuff, but I've just settled on this kind of technique to where it's mostly like an upper chest case, the head, neck, circles for the joints, and everything else. After I do the circles and joints and whatnot, I do the outer lines to where that's actually how the arm would look, and the thickness of it, which the joints and everything else helps me a lot with that. And let's see. So from what I have done thus far, I believe she's going to be in a surprise kind of reaction to I don't know what. Maybe Peter did something she didn't expect, which usually that's the case. In case anybody doesn't know, which I'm sure a lot of you don't, the story that she comes from. Okay, so basic sketch is done. After that I start with the face, which is the first thing I indicate or do, whatever the word is. A lot of people compare my style to manga, and I don't know if that's just the basics of everybody compares any style to manga if it has bigger eyes, which I do bigger eyes, but it's not really manga style. If you actually look at actual manga, it's like it has maybe a little flair of it, but I honestly would never compare it to that. Which it's not an insult or anything, which obviously, but it's really hard to say that that's what it is. Coco, unlike most of my characters, has a really high line for her eye. I don't really know exactly what that's called, but yeah. I don't know whether I want to put her hair behind her ear or not. I think I won't, but I'm definitely gonna try to give her glasses if I can remember. Normally she wears glasses, but I always tend to forget to draw them for some reason. Which if you could see me right now, you could tell that I am making the exact same face she is, because it's a habit I have. My mom always points it out and says it's really weird, but it's something I can't stop, so I just do it anyway, which I'm sure a lot of people do that on accident, but it happens. Keep having to check the camera because I don't know how long it's actually going to record it. Okay, so I'm going to do her classic cross, or not cross, but top that's falling down one of her shoulders. And her hair just kind of to the side, mostly in the back of her, but just some of it over her shoulder. Sorry if I'm not talking a lot, it's very hard because I don't normally do that while I'm drawing, which I think I'll give her short sleeves. Nice kind of short sleeves. Which normally I'm very bad at drawing the wrinkles in clothes correctly because I've never practiced it, and for some reason, even though I know I'm bad at it, I never do. It's a bad habit of mine to not practice constantly, which is really weird because I draw all the time. You'd think I'd have the time for that. You know what, I think I'm gonna make this shirt a little bigger, not so tight to her body. A little looser, because that's kind of how she likes her clothes most of the time, except for, you know, her shorts. Okay, so I think I'm basically done with the sketch part of it, and I'm gonna start doing the line work. For doing line work, I always use actually, a Staedtler pigment liner. I usually use the second one, or 0.2, because it's a decent thickness and it's not too thick, not too thin, so it's always what I like to use. And just like sketching, I always start with what I did first, usually, which is the face. And I'm sure that my hand is completely in the way, but if I was to move it, I would draw like a 12-year-old. Not a 12-year-old, I mean a 5-year-old. Which would not be very good. I apologize for 12-year-olds that can draw really good, though. Just when I was 5-year-olds, 12-year-olds, I did not draw very good, so. I think some of the best pictures, not all of them, but a lot of them, have a certain feel to them. like a expression almost. If I draw a character that's just sitting there and not really look like they're doing anything, I don't really like it as much, as opposed to one that looks like something's actually happening. Like this one, like she's actually looks like she's curious, or something stopped her from doing something, or she's kind of weirded out about something, as opposed to her just smiling and standing there. My line work is usually very fast. It's a little shaky at the moment because I usually hold my paper, not sit it down on a table, so it's a little awkward for me at the moment. But it's still kind of the same aspect of how my line work would be normally. In case some people don't know, I usually put crosses on my characters because I wear a cross all the time, so it's like part of me that's on the character, part of my personality that always seems to land on one of them, or happen to always be put on. I think I'm gonna roll up her sleeves to where it looks all bunched up. And my decision on where I put lines is completely at random. Sorry, I'm not really talking that much, am I? I'm just gonna do a... It's always really hard for me to pick something to put on one of my characters' t-shirts, which you'd think it'd be kind of easy, because it's just adding another piece of art to the clothes that they're wearing, but for some reason I can never think of something. I think I will just do some hearts. I like that. Right there. Okay, so that's basically it with the line work. I think I'm done with that, other than maybe right there. And now I'm going to try to erase this without it completely smudging. I use I think it's called a kneaded eraser. I don't remember the exact word, but it's really cool because it like stretches and it erases stuff without leaving that, like normal erasers leave like little shavings or whatever you call them. This doesn't, and it's like really nice because it just takes it away relatively easily. but even though a normal eraser usually takes it off like easy also, but this one does it lighter, and plus you can just dab at it to like get the spots that you missed. Okay, so now I'm gonna start coloring it. I always have to like test, obviously the test paper is really messy, test what color I'm gonna use, because I never know ahead of time or remember what color I actually like on my characters. Yeah, that one's a little too dark. I'm gonna go with this one. I use Copic markers, which are like crazy expensive, but, or for me at least, but I really like how they color and everything, so it's like technically worth it for me. I used to use just like ordinary like pens, just whatever I can get my hands on, or even pencils, but as soon as I got one of these I just couldn't stop using them. I had to use them for everything, even like quick sketches, because I love how they color and how the color goes on, how easy it just goes. I think most of mine are like starting to run out, so it's really getting hard to draw some of them, or use some of them, I mean. But I just have to get refills, which is very nice. Weird thing is that when I'm actually coloring, I actually do the face last, as opposed to how I normally do the face first for everything. I don't know why, but that's just the order I go in. Sorry, I had to stop it again to fix something else. So, please forgive me if this video is very glitchy in some spots. With Coco, I don't have to worry. Normally, I do have to worry, especially with characters with lighter hair, if the skin tone goes over into the hair color. But with Coco, her hair is going to be very dark, so it doesn't matter how messy I get with her skin tone. Which I always try to do the lighter colors or skin tone first, because I don't want to put the black first and then do the skin color, because the skin color usually ends up smudging the darker color into the skin itself, which never ends up working out well. I'm just gonna grab a darker color and start shadowing. Or, wait, hang on. Color in her lip real quick. I totally forgot about. Okay. Now I'm gonna start doing the darker color. I always do a basic. Just this one is actually, I didn't say before, but this one is E13, and then the darker one I'm using is E18. I don't know if it's focusing good enough for you to see. which I just have like a really ragtag batch of colors that I just use to mix with each other. I actually got most of these from Japan, which was really awesome. Surprisingly, I didn't expect that, but the prices in Japan are so much cheaper than they are in America. And it was really cool to buy them there. But of course, it's crazy. It's not worth going to Japan just to get markers. That'd be crazy expensive. And then they wouldn't be cheaper anymore. Which I go over it with black, and then I go back to, I'm sorry, I think I was using this one actually for the first one, which is E15. The other one was for the lips. I go over it to like kind of blend it a little bit better, and also add a third like darkness to it, because if you blend it sometimes, or if you go over the color again, it starts to get darker. Especially if you start blending it with a different color. This is exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so that's about it for the skin color. And I'm going to use B60, which I usually use purely for, even though it's a purple, I use it for like darkening white spots, like her eyes or her teeth, because it's very light, so it works perfect for that. And Coco's eyes are a gold, so I used a yellow at like the base, which is Y32, and then I use Y35 at the wrong side, at the very top to darken it a little bit. Okay, so I am going to have her t-shirt a blue, which is B14, because blue is her favorite color. Yes, she has a favorite color. It sounds really weird saying that, though. I've realized recording this that I flip my pens or pencils a lot in my hand. habit I can't seem to break. Okay, let's try darkening in darker spots since I colored it all completely already. Just darker half would be this side because I'm making light come over from here. Okay, I think that's good. And I am just gonna leave the hearts white and just add the one little tone into it. Okay, that time somebody walked in and I had to pause it for a second, but I am back. I got a little messy right around here. The blue just completely went over into the heart. But that's something that happens. Okay, now that I'm done with the shirt, I am going to add a gray, which is C5, into shadowing it a little better. If you see my hands, like, leave the screen, both of them at the same time, that means I am trying to replay the song that I'm currently listening to because I keep listening to it over and over again. And I'm not going to say what song it is because I don't want any problems with saying it. Or, yeah, I guess I could just say it. It's not a big deal. It's Sweet Dreams, which recently I just got obsessed with for a random no reason. Because it got stuck in my head the other day and now I can't stop listening to it. I'm going to leave this side a little light on the shirt because I think another light source would end up making it not as dark as the rest of it would be. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to go to the hair. And obviously, Coco's hair half the time is either black or like a really dark brown, which I always go back and forth between which one it is, which I'm going to use for this time E89. Which I usually do like really heavy strokes on the very top and then kind of leave like that for lighting or reflection or shine, whatever you call it. I really should probably know what I'm talking about before I say whatever you call it, because I've said that too many times. I think I know, but I don't. I just do up brush strokes to get it up done, which this is the darker side, so there's not going to be as much shine over here as there is going to be over here. I'm going to like cut most of the shine down a little bit. And then I'm also going to go in it later with a black to make it even darker, because it's not quite dark enough. So yeah, since a lot of light's coming from this side, I'm going to leave a long strip of light, or white, I mean, on the one side. And then I am now going to use black, I guess, which is 110, which is the only black I have, which works really good. After I go through this with black, I'm going to go through it with the brown again to make it a little bit better transition and not so harsh. Makes it look a little nicer if you go over with the first color again, because it just smooths it out and blends it a lot better than, which I have a blending pen, but it usually works better if I do it that way. I'm just gonna do a little red. This is always the hardest part because, or the top lips are usually the hardest part because there's no line, so I usually sometimes mess up and make it like a really fat lip that I didn't intend whatsoever. So it's basically done. I'm just going to add in, well, I'm going to use this white gel pen, which I absolutely love because I used to have them as a kid, but I couldn't find them for a while, and then my mom actually found some, and I just love it because it just adds highlight perfectly, and it's not like a harsh highlight either. It's like a really almost not subtle but a very nice one, so I like to use that on a lot of my pictures, mostly just recently though, because obviously I just got it like I just said. And okay, so I'm gonna go over her cheeks with a little pink and her nose just a little bit to like add a little bit more color into there. Because Coco usually has a very, or Coco doesn't have a very pink face, or red face I guess, but she blushes a lot. And okay, so in case you didn't catch that, I totally caught that I totally forgot to put glasses on her. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it's just a tendency I have to completely forget that she wears glasses, because sometimes she wears contacts, so it's okay to forget, but I didn't want to this time, and it kind of happened. Just a little highlight right there, which if the light was coming over here, I think a little highlight would be coming onto this part, because the arm would be blocking some of it, but not all of it. And then a little bit right there. Maybe some right there. Okay, I think this is about done. Yeah, it is. So, yeah, that was basically my, process on how I draw, quick sketches, etc. So I'm just gonna sign this real quick, and then I am done. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.